Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Hi, Jessica. Welcome. So I switched things around a little bit. I have ugly stuff going on here, but I needed to change my things around so I could have this lamp here for when the sun goes down. So it's not, hey, cat. So it's not all pretty, and I don't have my plants back here anymore just because I've started to give those away. And this whole process of moving to the next stage here, y'all, it's really given me some lessons, and also giving me new perspective to share with you on this journey. So I have a personal share to share with you about what led to today's message of Mayday, because I think there are many of us that are in it, and I'm going to share my perspective and what it looks like, because it is feeling extremely uncomfortable at the moment. And I think there are many of us who are getting to the point where we're saying, Mayday, Mayday, what's going on? Like, somebody help us here, right? So first, I want to just remind you that we do have, tomorrow is the 11/11 portal. It is, to me, and I feel like in the energetic community, it's almost kind of like one of the most important days of the year, and because it opens up such a powerful flow of energy. And we have been, part of today's message is to remind us that we have been very much pushed to cleanse as much as we can, so that we can enter this portal in the highest of consciousnesses, in order to ride this wave for the next 40 days through December 21st, through the solstice, in order to then take us into the energy of the kind of the give us a really big boost for literally building and creating the new earth, our jubilee year, our heaven on earth, all through next year. So it's a really important day. I have mentioned that I am doing an 11/11 supernal channel event tomorrow with 5 souls. I still have 3 spots left. So I would like to, if in my mind, I'm like, how is this not filled already? Like, this is one of the biggest opportunities, but honor. This is the big, like, I feel so honored to have the intelligence to know that we have the ability, where 2 or more are gathered, to help steer the collective energy for the 11/11 portal. And those souls who are drawn to it are those who are pivotal in helping to create the energy for a boost of energy, to intentionalize that for not only our own individual I am presences, but also we will connect into the I am presences of not only the new earth, but also all of humanity. So what we are doing tomorrow in this supernal channel is taking our individual supernal channels, connecting into each other, and extending it out into a massive container of receptivity to bring in messages and intentions and energy that we then, as a collective in this intimate group, steering the energy that will take us into, and that will support us in these next 40 days. And so for me, like, I'm super stoked for this. I think it's going to be highly potent for those of us who sit in this intimate setting. And I believe it's going to empower us in ways that I just have a feeling that it's going to empower us in ways that we don't understand yet. So with that said, if you have been on the fence, or you're kind of like, I don't know, or maybe I have to work, like, maybe you can take an hour and a half of your lunch break and do it with me in the morning. So I have put the link in here, and if you are called to do this, otherwise it's going to be done with who's in this circle already. and we will hold the energy. We will hold the energy for this whole community. So I do hope that, not that I hope, I just I hope you feel this from my heart, from my I am presence. Like, this is something we are being called to. You have to be called to it, and I was extremely called to it. And the more that I've talked about it, I haven't really like thought about it. I'm not planning anything. It is literally going to be co-created by those who assemble. So, again, if you'd like to join me, and some pretty highly intelligent people as well as intelligent beings, we will have quite the force field going. That link is in the in the chat. So, getting into the message, y'all. These last couple of days have just been really intense, and I'm going to share how it's showing up for me, because I finally received a higher perspective of it today, which is, it helped to kind of relieve a little bit, but there's still a lot of discomfort that I'm sitting in. So many of you know, I have been called to go back to the States. It's a calling, and here's how I look at it. At this point, when I got the call to sell off everything in Austin a year and a half ago, gosh, it's been almost 2 years ago that we were in 2020 was when we started to kind of sell off things, and get the physicality, the physical part of eliminating our whole life, like disassembling our entire life. We deconstructed it for about 6 months before we finally left. And so it's been about 2 years. And when I got the call, it felt like I couldn't say no to it. It was so palpably a call. And I had never had anything like that. I'd had callings, but like this kind, I mean, like, it had to be pretty strong for me to be like, yeah, my life is actually really good. I'm living in what I would say is my dream house. And, things weren't perfect, but they were pretty perfect. And to just say, okay, I'm going to let it all go. Like, I barely understand it. I barely understood it then. And looking back, I can barely understand it, because the year and a half, or 2 years since we left, a year and a half has been extremely challenging. And the way that I see it is like this mission, this calling for us to be light workers, to be starseeds. Like, it's when we were called to step up. I think a lot of us really kind of felt that calling and came into that understanding in these last few years. And it's kind of like having a job with the light. And it's a completely different job than we've ever known. It is the polar opposite, is the opposite expression of what we've ever known, jobs in the 3D world, in the inverted matrix, to be. And so when I was called here, I saw it kind of as like, oh, I'm being relocated. I'm being transferred. I'm having to be somewhere, to give of my light, to be a presence somewhere. And I've trusted that. And a few months ago, we got the call that it's time to go back. And you can put logical explanations as to, why that is. And yes, it's exciting to me because I'll be closer to my boys. But in the last couple of days, I've, with Bud being back, I just emailed my ex-husband and said Bud would like to just have dinner with the boys, and was, basically told that no. And so, like, my heart's been really heavy, because I know that this calling going back means, like, I got to get back into that world of like fighting to see my boys again. And sorry. And then the way I've been talking about, like, the way to get back isn't all that clear. And it became clear. I had some, my beautiful mother said, like, I want you back. I want to help you. And so I was able to book my ticket. And when I went to register the dogs, I wasn't able to get them on United. United won't take them and in the hold. So then I canceled that flight and rebooked another one. And that one went through Munich. And when I called to register the dogs, and Munich has an embargo that no flights coming that are laying over in Munich can have pets. So I had to cancel that flight. All the other flights really that are available have 18, 20-hour layovers, which you can't do that with dogs. And up until this morning, I spent yesterday. I spent about 3 hours going, going back and forth in the madness. I record the calls with the customer service representatives because it boggles my mind how the 3D world of commercial airlines works. I had to make 4 different calls at the very beginning of this whole process because um, I wasn't getting emails of confirmation. So then I called back and said, I just confirmed I put these 2 dogs on this flight. I didn't get the email, and they're like, we don't show it on your ticket. No one, I was like, well, what did I do for 45 minutes with your airline? And I had to call 2 different airlines because it was 2 different flights. And then I called the second time to the second airline, and they had the dogs on there. But when I went to, I forget what that one was about. And she's like, "Oh, hold on, actually, no, you can't have them on this flight." And I was like, how did I book them the first time? Like, how was that able to be done? And so it was just like I had 4 different phone calls in one day and 4 different answers, and they just kept looping me back around in the same thing, and I was getting more and more clearer about how this inverted matrix is designed, and it is designed to keep us in a loop of frustration. And okay, well, let me transfer you over here, and this person tells me something different, and I said, well, why does this person say something different? And they're like, well, they don't understand the two departments. And well, the 2 departments are under the same umbrella of a company. How do you not know? But what I do know from working in corporate is that departments are deliberately not to know what the other one does, because if they did, we would see it more. We would see it more clearly and faster. And I just sat there and I was just like, this isn't the way. This is not the way for me to get back this commercial way. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. As I'm going through this process, there was something else too. Oh, and here's the other thing too. Here's something else I haven't. There's another whole thing that's been going on in my world that I haven't mentioned. So I had this whole, getting back, and it's not working. It's not working for me to go through the traditional outlet of getting back and getting my dog safely back. The other thing is, right before Bud left, somewhere in Mexico, we lost a debit card, and we were just like, well, we're in Mexico, we're not gonna, Wells Fargo. I don't even want to deal with Wells Fargo. We had one debit card, and we've lived on one debit card. We lost it once in Ukraine, but we had one sent. How it got to the place in Ukraine that we were in, it was like when we first got there. So we were in the middle of the mountains of Ukraine at that point, and somehow we got this debit card sent. So when Bud was heading back, he had to travel. So I was like, well, I guess you take the card, and I'll just have Wells Fargo send me another one. Called Wells Fargo, 45 minutes later. Why it takes so long just to request one? We've had a lot of issues with Wells Fargo since being overseas. Like I've gotten a whole different perspective of American banking as well. And so they're like, okay, so we sent one out, and 3-4 weeks later, I still haven't gotten it. So I called back, and when Bud got back to the States, I had him go into a Wells Fargo, and they're like, we have no record of one going out. So then I called and I said, can you send one with a tracking number so that I can track it? No, we can't do that. And I said, I will pay for it. I will pay for it to go FedEx or UPS. DHL was how we got it in Ukraine. And they said no. And I was like, do you get that? I already got one sent in, Ukraine, DHL. I had a tracking number. Well, we can't do that. And I'm just like, what is going on? I feel like I'm going freaking crazy working with this. And I just had to just stop. I had to just stop and just say, okay, I am without, in this moment as I sit here, y'all. The only reason I have access to money is I have expats that live right next door. So I Venmo them money and they give me cash. If they weren't there, I would be royally fooked. Royally fooked. But thank God somebody's looking over me. Gus is looking over me and gave me really great neighbors. But that said, I'm still vulnerable. When it comes to having access to my money, I am vulnerable. And I don't even have a lot of that. When it comes to getting myself back at my free will, I am extremely vulnerable. I am bobbing up and down, lost at sea, is how I finally saw it today. I just cried my eyeballs out this morning after I got off the phone and with the second flight, and they were like, "Oh no, there's an embargo. You can't take the dogs." And I was like, "Well, what am I gonna do? Like, what? I don't know what to. I don't know what to do. Right? I don't know what to do." And I said, in out loud, I heard myself say, I am now like bobbing in the ocean up and down. My vessel has gone down. All of my systems that I have ever known, right? Commercial airlines, banking as I know it. I mean, like politics is gone. Politics is no longer what it ever was. I mean, for as long as I've been alive, it's been pretty crooked too. But I didn't know that until, recently. All of the systems that we know of are crumbling. They are going down. And now we're kind of bobbing up and down, being like, what do we do? Because the fifth dimensional systems haven't completely come online because in my knowing, we're many of us are like barely there. And those of us who are on the cusp of it haven't created the systems yet. So there's nothing for us to turn to. We are in that process of the in between of having the systems be illuminated. And what I mean, I'm not looking out here for the systems in here. The systems that we have now that are coming online are our systems of materialization, of manifestation. But we don't know yet how to fully embody them, right? We don't know fully how to embody them. And our consciousnesses have expanded so quickly that the physical piece hasn't caught up yet. Jen Gidry, sorry, Jen, I'm butchering your name. She's in Storehouse Social now with us. She sent me a video with Alexander Queen, and it was his latest video, and he was talking about why souls are lost. And it was so timely because that's like literally it came this morning when I was like, I was deep, man. I was like, I was like ugly crying. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm stuck here forever. And it came through. So I was like trying to do anything, and I was just to make myself feel better or like change my perspective. And I watched it, but he was talking about the same thing. Like the same realization I was getting is that we are, are these systems that we are now, these multidimensional systems that are now online are not quite, we haven't dialed them in yet. We haven't mastered them yet. So we are literally very vulnerable at this point. We are vulnerable because we no longer are connected, nor are we dependent. Some of you are still though. Like some of like here's the cold hard truth, okay? There are those of us who are on this awakening journey that are still very much reliant still on those old systems. Some of you have 3D jobs still relying on the system to, of energy exchange of money, and then there's some that are still in relationships or in circumstances that are still kind of comfortable, but maybe uncomfortable, but pulling out of them haven't been done. So the honest truth is, if there is some part of your life that you're still kind of comfortable with, but really uncomfortable, but afraid to kind of fully pull out, it's there's still attachment, there's still some fear. And that is part of the inverted matrix, keeping you in the comfortability of like, if you pull out, what's it going to look like? If you pull out, how are you going to survive? If you pull out, you'll be all alone. So, we all are still somewhat tethered. A little bit, but I honest to God, there aren't many tethers that I have left, because I really honestly feel that, except I'm floating here. I don't have any tethers down here, and every time I go to look for the comfortability of, okay, this is where you go to book a flight to get across the world, it's not working for me. And I know that has been pulled out. I've been pulled out of even that system. Every time I go to, oh, I need some money for groceries. Oh, I can't just go and get it. I'm pulled out of that system. Like I have been energetically pulled out, and therefore that is not working for me anymore. So when I tell you that I'm bobbing up and down here in complete discomfort and complete vulnerability, I am stripped raw. And I'm not in fear. I am just in full surrender. And if you think of like, Titanic, people when Titanic went down and all of the people were in the boats, like at that point, it was only when they were in the emergency stages, when something goes down, like Top Gun, when like Goose pulls the thing like that, only then when they're like, Mayday, Mayday, we're going down, we're going down. It's in the emergency. It's in the oh shit stage that you call Mayday. And literally today, like those words, that's why the title of today is what it is. I was sitting crying and I was just saying, Mayday, Mayday, I'm lost. I am completely lost. I don't know. Help me illuminate. And remember, we talked about last week on the flatline episode, we talked about in there the evacuation. We also talked last week about the revelation point, that point where the spiritual meets the physical. In that moment, right? In that moment for, I'm just going to keep bringing up Titanic, people, because we've all seen the movie, or we heard the story, like we know enough about it, that in the moment, like, people who were lucky enough to be in a lifeboat, or like, Rose, who was floating on a, piece of the shipwreck, at that point they prayed. At that point, they said, they turned to God. They turned to their God. They surrendered, because they were so vulnerable, floating in the ocean, in the cold, with nothing but time to just pray and to turn their attention to something greater than them. That's where many of us are. And I think that's what Alexander Queen's where his message came from. Like, so many souls are lost. We are literally between worlds, and we're waiting for that spiritual realm, Pepe, to meet the physical realm, where the illumination comes, where the revelation comes, where the answer comes to us. And as I was then doing my hair, getting ready for you all, I was sitting there and I was just saying, I just got the revelation of, I'm not taking a commercial flight back. This is where the evacuation happens. And remember, I want to read a little bit from that message from last week about the evacuation. Hold on, I dog-eared it. Okay, so listen. And this it is coming back to me now. We're starting to connect some dots. This was just from on the 1st, 11:1. You have reached the resonance now where the earth has flatlined. Her systems are shutting down, and are no longer sustainable for you to live by. Okay, that inverted matrix, the systems, I'm seeing it, I'm experiencing it. Many of us are experiencing it. We now see the old, political systems it's not like blue or red or anything like that. Politics is dead. It is dead in the water, right? Commercial airlines, dead in the water. It's like it's just, any of us who have traveled any, in the last freaking 5 years, even 10 years, it's gotten harder and harder and harder to just get around this world, right? Every bit of the systems in which we have been engaged in that inverted matrix, we're seeing it now more than ever. We're experiencing how much they are dead in the water. For those who can see and feel the death, you are now being prepared to evacuate the body of the flatlined earth. And I do believe that's the 3D body. The 3D body of earth is dead, right? We talked about that. Each of you will be led in a way that is most in resonance with you, so that the evacuation is one of familiarity and excitement. This is the time you've been waiting for. I guess this is where the Titanic thing comes up, because I forgot that this was used. The evacuation will happen in waves. not like the Titanic style where women, children, and men, women and children first. This will be one of resonance, Those with a higher resonance are most compromised from the dead inverted, the inverted matrix. So those of us who have risen up high enough to be almost fully pulled out of it, we're the ones that are most vulnerable, right? Because our new operating systems, multidimensional systems, we're still learning it. We're still like toddlers being like, what, how does this work? How do I manifest in a multidimensional way? Because it's completely different than we were taught in, for those of us who actually went on the journey to learn how to manifest. And we knew that we had to change our mindset, and you feel and you intentionalize. In the multidimensional sense, it's almost immediate. It's because the resonance is so high, you think, you feel, and it's projected out. That's where we're going. But we are still, and this is the big thing. We are still purging this old system out of our physicality, out of our physical minds, our synapses in the brain of how do we do things. My immediate synapse when I finally had the way to get back was Travelocity.com, and I've had nothing but like headaches, literally, like nothing but headaches, being like, oh my God, how is the world? Hold on, see? And poor Pepe. Okay, hold on. Pepe. Sorry, y'all. Pepe. This is Pepe. Ah, I know. What is it? Okay. Pepe. Please, sweet child. That usually means the goats are out. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Just give me a second because he will drive. Hey. Please. It's okay. Thank you for letting me know. Oh my God, my nervous system. Pepe, this is he's loud. But that's usually the freak out that he has every time the goats come down the hill here. Pepe, please. I'm gonna let him go out and watch the goats. Sorry, y'all. Pepe, come on. Go outside. Come on. Get. Okay. I apologize. Back to where I was. My nervous system is like, Gah! So we are shedding the old programming from our mind. Yesterday, when I was up on the hill, all of a sudden I was thinking about the respawn process that we talked about last week. And the illumination came as I can do that with my mind as well. I can ask for a complete wipe of my mind and ask to keep that which are the memories, that which is the processes, that which is the patterns that are in my highest and best good to keep within my mind. So I was very intentional with it, because what we're learning to do can have always has consequences. And I use my best judgment of the words that I'm using, because our words are magic. They are the power. They are not the power, but they are our power. So I was praying out loud, and I was just saying, I want to wipe my mind of all the old programming that I have around my, how I used to deal with my ex-husband. I want an update on what is the next level up, or the higher intelligence of how do I go back, and how do I speak, and how do I behave in order to from my I am presence to speak with his. So it's no longer a fight of the mind of who can overpower the other. How can I hit his spirit so he just understands I'm not a threat to him? So if anything else in me that wants to fight him, anything else that wants to come in for a battle, I'm asking for that to be wiped. I no longer want that kind of behavior. I no longer want that kind of thought process. I also want to wipe all of the reliance I have on these old systems, because I want to make space for the new systems. I want to have the eyes to see new ways of getting around this world. I want to have the eyes to make new contacts who might know of someone, or who might know of a different way that I don't know about, because I've been so embedded in the old matrix of how do you get from one place in the world to the other? Travelocity.com, Expedia.com. I want that all wiped. I want space to invite in new intelligence of a higher kind. We know that those who have hidden the truths of this world, they don't get around this world by going on Travelocity and Expedia. They know ways. They know the infinite ways. They know the free energy. They know the free resources. So I want to wipe I'm asking, this is my prayer, I am asking to be fully wiped of all third dimensional beliefs, patterns, habits that no longer serve me, that aren't true, that aren't resonant with truth. If you wipe those out, and I'm asking for updates, new intelligence to come in through my supernal channel to open me up to all the possibilities of how I can easily, effortlessly, and in the most resonant with me, travel back to my heaven on earth so I can get there with my dogs and be in joy with them, to be excited with them, to be on an adventure with them. What does that look like? I literally sat yesterday and at first had to force myself to get in that, because I wanted to just stay in the puddle of poor me, I'm stuck, I'm drowning. But I pulled myself up in the Mayday mentality. It's like, Mayday, Mayday, no one's coming for me. The only way that Mayday starts to help us is when someone came in the Storehouse social, is when we change our consciousness. We rise in consciousness and expand in consciousness to the frequency where new possibilities exist outside of the 3D realm that has been hijacked. And I was stuck in the 3D realm, but I had to get myself, and I did that through a process I'm going to share with you at the end here. Okay. I'm going to share this, and it came from something else that came across my computer at the perfect and right time, because it was literally my guides through the supernal channel. Here's something that we want you to do. Here's your prescription right now. And I'm going to share that prescription with you. I already did with you all in Storehouse social. But that is the Mayday only comes when we allow ourselves to just simply surrender and know that we're bobbing up and down in the middle of the ocean, and we put our arms out and we float there and we say, Gus, take it, because that is, I'm there, and it is not comfortable. Sorry, Pepe's still going crazy. But at this point, we are all doing our best to just simply stay afloat long enough for that moment of revelation, that moment of illumination to come. Oh my gosh, these dogs. Sorry, y'all. There's like some yappy dog that's out there that's driving him crazy. I don't know if it's chaos right now. It's chaos. It's utter chaos. So all of this to say, y'all, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. Pepe, you need to stop. Please, stop. Quiet. No, you're gonna. It's just some like yappy dog. I'm so sorry. This is my life. This is what it's like pretty much all day long with Pepe. One little thing outside and he goes bonkers. In the middle of the night, he does that. And I will tell you that nothing like makes me sit up faster and rage and be like, Pepe, shut up. I get so angry with him at night when he does that, because it just like, I'll be, like, night is my sanctuary. Like, I sleep hard, and I will be in like dead sleep and like communing with, in my astral travels, and that thing goes off, and holy Moses, it'll rattle me for minutes. But here's the thing. I have become very clear today as I sat here. I've become very clear that this week has been really intense for a lot of people. I've heard, some messages from you all too, that and this 3D matrix stuff is being stripped out of us in preparation for this 1111 portal, because what we take into this energy of the next 40 days, anything that is going in there with us is going to be multiplied, expanded, and it's going to spill over. So I understood why the timing came for me to have to try to get back in the traditional ways this week before this portal, so that I could see that's not the way for me. That is not how I'm getting back. I have no idea what this looks like, but that's not the way. So what I take into this portal tomorrow is the knowing that all of that is being stripped away. Anything tied into that 3D matrix, inverted matrix, is being stripped away so that we can enter them. We, meaning those of us who resonate at the higher levels that are closer to the higher fourth dimension, and we're getting to the point where this year, I believe in this Jubilee year, is when we step into, we're already anchored into it. We're already anchored into the fifth dimensional frequency. Our consciousness is, and energetically, we are anchored into it. But how we pull ourselves up there physically is through these operating systems, learning how to materialize this energy and pop us over to that dimensional reality where we're operating still in this physical world, but we don't even see the chaos going on around us. We are in our own world, and we are creating it in community. We are creating it and building it out. So this is the time in these next few hours before we hit into the 1111 portal. This is the time where we start to really shed. So if you're kind of feeling it, dive into the poo puddle, get rid of it, process it, sit in it, let it go, so that when you wake up tomorrow on that 1111 portal, that you are cleansed and cleared to the best of your abilities, because how you enter into this portal is what you are going to be building on. So now I understood, but this right before I got on here, actually, I understood it. Why I had to sit in such lowness in these last couple of days to be able to clear it and to put my attention on the realm of possibilities that opens up the new way of operating, the new way of materializing, the new way of getting around this world. And like what I'm talking about, like literally, but also how do we get around this world in the energetics that we are, without really being noticed by this world, but we just keep creating. And then when we become noticed, people are like, how did you do that? This world's like all crazy. And we're like, we don't operate in that world. And that's when we start to then invite people into a higher perspective of living, because we have evidence. Then right now we don't have evidence for what we're doing, which is why we feel really lost. So when Bud tells me, he's like, oh, I'll start looking at new flights, I was like, don't look at new flights, just don't do it. That's not how I'm getting back. And he's frustrated. He's like, what are you talking about? How else are you going to get here? I'm like, I don't know, but it's not that way. So don't look at flights. And he thinks I'm being difficult or stubborn or upset. But I'm like, I just know, y'all, like, I'm not getting back in the traditional way. And and I don't know how it's going to be, but it's just, that's what we feel, very lost. So what I will be doing is sitting in the intentionality of, these are all the ways that I will travel with my dogs on a private jet. I keep seeing jets. I keep seeing myself on a jet with the dogs at my feet. It doesn't make any sense because I don't have the means, I don't have the contacts, I don't have the network, but I see it so clearly. And I know there's something to it. So that is what I am putting my attention on, and getting myself out of the attention of, this is how I get around the world. This is where my attention is going, to all the possibilities that I know exist, but I just haven't had access to. So I'm opening up access because I'm expanding and increasing my frequency. So this is all practice. We are all practicing this. So through the law of free will, we are now, and I think many of you are putting out the clarion call of Mayday. And we must, and here's the thing that we have to know, through the law of free will, the clarion call for rescue, the clarion call for help, the clarion call for evacuation has to come from the realm in which it's needed. So what that means is, from the physical realm, I am calling with my voice. I am calling for through my supernal channel. I'm putting the clarion call out saying, I'm ready to be evacuated. I'm ready for a revelation. I'm ready for an illumination. I need help in this physical world, moving literally from physicality in this part of the world to this part of the world. And what I said, my clarion call was, you gave me this calling. So in the world of jobs, when you get transferred, the organization takes care of it. It takes care of all the logistics. It takes care of all the resources required. So in this higher consciousness that I am creating, that I am moving into, because I'm letting go of this, I'm rising up into the light of the creator. I'm rising up into my heaven on earth, into that frequency, connecting into my supernal channel, and I'm putting out the clarion call that I'm ready to be transferred. I'm ready to be transported into my next calling, into my next mission, and I'm awaiting my orders. I'm awaiting for all of the details to be worked out. Thank you. I appreciate the help, and I'm letting it go. And I have to keep doing that over and over and over again. But that's how we do this. That's how we step into this world of higher manifestation, of higher materialization, asking, letting it go, surrendering it, just knowing it's done, and being patient while the details get worked out. We're not on their time. We are on their time. We're not on our time. We're on their time. But I think it's going to start happening faster and faster the more that we cleanse and clear our minds, and cleanse and clear our brains, and get ready for new synapses to open, new neural pathways to open up to new ways of doing things, until our systems catch up to our consciousness. That's where we are. And the Mayday call has like, literally, say it with your voice. I'm calling Mayday. I'm calling in all guidance that is of the higher realms that I haven't had access to, that I didn't know about. I'm asking for new information on, a new manual to be downloaded into my system, into my awareness, into my consciousness, for me to understand how to utilize this new higher frequency in which I operate. We are calling in a new manual, so to speak, a new directional manual, so that we understand how to use these new systems. Put out the Mayday call and ask for it. One last thing I want to share with you. Again, if you are here and you haven't joined me in Storehouse Social, which is the gathering place that we're taking this chat conversation and taking it more into a more personal space, as personal as we can get online. But there's a few of you in there now, and I love it. So we're gonna, I want to keep I'm sharing things. I'm trying to share a little bit more personal stuff. I mean, I'll get there, but I share pretty personally on here. But I want to start really getting our community to know each other, to support each other, to be able to share what you're going through, so that if you're in the poo puddle one day, we can hold space for you. So this is a place, if you want to come in, I always say, like, I'll leave the light on for you. When it's your time, the light's going to be on, and you just reach out and you email me at connect@vedettemeyer.com, and I'll send you the link. I don't want to just put the link out here, because I want to keep it private. I want to keep it just for us. This isn't for everybody. I don't want everybody in there, so you got to do a little work, which means you got to email me, and then I will send you the link to come on in. So I want to close with this. I was given, I love Patricia Cota Robles. I shared this video in in Storehouse Social, and she had her weekly vlogs. I followed them for years. She's been a mentor of mine, and she's always just like, she just helps me understand a lot of things that sometimes I can't quite connect logically. And she had a really powerful one this week. You can go to her YouTube channel if you want. But her video was quite powerful, and she had a practice in there about the portal of the holy breath. And I loved it because I've been practicing it. And that's something, like when I was deep, I would remember this and I would come back and I would take maybe 30 seconds to just sit and breathe these holy breaths. Breathe these holy breaths. And when we breathe a conscious holy breath, it changes everything. And I have literally put it into practice these last couple of days. And how it works is just how we always do it. Breathe in your nose, hold, breathe out of your mouth, and hold. As you breathe in, you simply say, I breathe in the light of, I'm going to say God, universe, Gus, the creator. I breathe in the light of the creator, and from every celestial opportunity. Part of her video was really going through like the massive celestial events that have happened. And we are in a cycle that started, we are finishing up a cycle that started 19 years ago. Y'all just go watch that video. Patricia Cota Robles, and if you're in Storehouse Social, I posted it in there. It's pretty powerful, and this will make sense. But there is some pretty intense celestial energy that we are tapping into, obviously taking us into this portal as well. So this is why the words are the way they are. I breathe in the light of the creator and from the celestial opportunities at hand. And at the hold, I assimilate the light of the creator from the celestial opportunities at hand. Breathe out. I expand the light of the creator from the celestial opportunities at hand. And then you hold for 2 seconds. I project the light of the creator from the celestial opportunities at hand. Sometimes if I can't read, like I get the idea of it. So a couple times I couldn't quite remember the words because I was like in it. So all I did was take a few deep breaths with those intentions. And I put those intentions and said, from here on out, when every conscious breath, this is the intention behind it. I breathe in the light of God. I assimilate the light of God. I expand the light of God. And I project the light of God. Just make it simple for yourself, whatever the word God is for you. So let's just do that now. Just because Pepe probably has us all a little bit crazy. So let's just breathe in. Just get your feet centered and come into your heart space. And remember that I am my I am presence, and I connect to the I am presence of every man, woman, and child on this planet, as well as the I am presence of Gaia herself. And what I pray for myself, what I affirm for myself, I affirm for every I am presence that I am connected to. And in this moment, I breathe in. And as I breathe in the light of the creator. And as you hold at the top, I assimilate and embody the light of the creator. And breathe out through your mouth. I expand the light of the creator. And hold. I project the light of the creator. This is the holy breath. And by breathing this holy breath exactly like this, I open up the portal of the holy breath. And as I breathe this intentional holy breath into this portal, I breathe it into the entire planet, into every I am presence. And I pass this light. I assimilate this light. I expand this light, and I project this light, because that's who I am as a creator. That's who I am as a light worker. That's who I am as the great I am. I am a unique expression of the great I am. Therefore, with every holy breath, I breathe life into this planet, into humanity, and into the universe itself. I am unified. I am grateful. I am coming online into multidimensional operating systems I never knew possible. And they now become illuminated. They now become illuminated. I put the great Mayday out for myself and all I am presences that I am connected with. And they have a choice whether or not to accept the answers, the insights, and the quote unquote evacuation that comes their way. And I accept it in my own world. I accept all the ways for us to ascend into heaven on earth, to anchor it into our physical realities, to project it out for all to see, not from a place of ego, but from a place of hope, so that we too can project and assimilate and expand heaven on earth to every I am presence that we are connected to in this moment. That is my intention. I let it go and I let it be, for I know that my voice, my words make it so, and so too does my feelings, and my electromagnetic field now is projecting heaven on earth, because I am the great I am presence. I let this go and I let this be, and so it is. Abracadabra. And there we are, at peace. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to share my Mayday moment. Thank you for allowing Pepe, the wonder dog, to thank you for experiencing him and loving him. That part of him is the hardest part, but the rest of the time, like, he just is pure light and pure joy. So thank you for we're soul family, and we take the good, the bad, and the ugly about each other. And you got the ugly of Pepe, but hopefully many of you will meet him one day, and you'll see why I fell in love with him and why he's worth all of that. Thanks for being patient with me while I worked with him as well. So I know that was a little bit of a disruption, and I apologize for that. And yet, it is what it is. It is life. So if you want to hang on, I'll just go through some of your. If we're done here, if you want to go. Otherwise, I'd like to kind of see what you all have got to say. We got divine guidance on the next step of our journey. We're headed to the Houston area in December. Okay, whoo! You got some illumination. Good job. I know that you were kind of in that I don't know for a while too. Tarla says, oh my God, that is exactly what I'm going through as well. I didn't know what the hell I was doing wrong, but now I understand. Yeah, I didn't understand. I mean, either. We're getting a really big cleanse, the opportunity for a really big cleanse in, and that's what the whole thing with the evacuation. It's going to show up in a unique way for each of us. So like, I'm just sharing my way, and Jessica, your challenge was not knowing where you were going next, and Tarla, I don't know what yours is, but so we're all we're getting these opportunities that show up unique to each of us, but it's all the same energy. It's the opportunity for us to clear what the need to know, the need to figure it out. That's all that inverted matrix, and this is where we learn to surrender and just say, this is in my highest and best good. And I did have that moment a few times, interspersed with all of the what the heck kind of energy with these tickets. But also in there, I was like, wait a minute, that didn't work out. Shoot, that flight didn't work out, because from the very beginning, for months now, I've known that I don't think the commercial is going to be how I get back. And so then all of a sudden I'm booking commercial flights, and it's not working. So there was something in me that's paying attention. Just trust this process. We're taking it out of your world, because it's not yours. Where you're not going commercially. But my mind's but how else are we going to go? So my mind is what keeps wanting to pull in the old way. So I'm battling. It's and I think Alexander Queen said on his video, it's like a push-pull. The mind still wants to do the old way, but the spirit saying, no, stop with that. So we're all being challenged. We're all clearing out some programming so that we don't take it with us into this portal. Kat says, this has been going on for me for the last 5 years. I saw this coming before 2020, still trying to let go of need for 3D job, but I acknowledge all the progress I've made to get where I am now. Yeah, we're all still kind of tied in somehow. And it is the less and less of, we have tied in there, the more and more uncomfortable it becomes, because it's like, oh my God, like, how does this work? And I mean, I'm floating in it, y'all. Like, there's no 3D job. There's, there's just nothing really left, and it's really uncomfortable. Tarla says, absolutely. I have felt like I'm just floating in a sea, screaming Mayday, feeling like this for a while already. Like I've lost the urge to fight. And that, and right? Like that's the perfect thing. Like how do, like most people drown because they fight, they fight to stay away. It's when they surrender that they float, right? Like that's the perfect way to put it, Tarla. Like that's what we are being drawn to do. This is when we have to just lay back and just float, and we just say this Mayday as calmly and in as much peace and in trust, and just say, this is my Mayday signal. I'm sending out the ping. Here I am floating in the sea, and I'm just going to enjoy it. Maybe we don't have to enjoy it, but I'm going to be at peace with it, because if we fight it, like I have been fighting it, I found myself fighting it. It wasn't fun. It sent me deep. And I had to like crawl my way back up by doing that process, the portal of the holy breath that keeps bringing me back up into surrender. And I've had to do that quite a bit today, actually. Pepperoni, Pepe. Yes, I have been asking for this too. A new way to think, to speak, to behave, and new eyes to see others, all from a place of love. Yes. Oh man, that one's hard, but it feels hard for me too sometimes. Especially this week with my, everything going on, my ex-husband, that's all kind of rearing up again. And I think it's rearing up because it has to be cleared. And I dread it. I'm not excited about it, but chaos over here too. My girls are throwing books down the stairs. Jessica says, I personally am not bothered by life happening. Pepe barking text, no need to apologize. Thank you for that. Like I get really, but so we're all in it, y'all. Like I think most of you are in Storehouse Social, so we can take this conversation in there and just be a support for each other. But Pepe's still like all pissed off out there, but like that he's feeling the energy too. Like our pets are in this. We're all kind of like, so let's support each other. That's the whole point of Storehouse Social. If you're in it, bring it so that we can just support you and just know and send you energy. That's what that's what that space is for you to come in and say, y'all, I'm in my poo puddle. I'm deep, and we'll just send you light. We're not going to try to solve it for you. We're not going to try to, we all know it. We know it's best to let you be, but we're going to give you and send you light and love, and just let you work through it, because that's the best thing that we can do for each other at this point. So thank you all for being here. I'm super grateful. I'm grateful for your patience. I'm grateful for your time and your energy for being here, because it really does matter. And I love you all so much. I'll see you on Sunday on the next one. Mwah. Have a good couple of days. Oh, except for those of you I'll see tomorrow on the portal on the 11/11 Supernal Channel event. I think it's going to be really special, y'all. So I really look forward to it. Kat and Sam, who's not on here, but she's also signed up. So I'm super excited, y'all. See you then. Bye.